Hello there, you beautiful soul. Welcome back to another Culture Talks conversation with your host and founder of Cultured Society. My name is Rebecca Munoz, and I am here with yet another special guest to talk about life experiences, culture, in all things healing arts. I am a big fan of self-healing and I'm a firm believer that we are here to not only be children of the light, but we are also being called to heal ourselves so we can inspire others to heal themselves and we can raise the vibration of our planet because we need that more than ever before. And if you have been a part of these Culture Talks conversations over the past year, you will see that majority of our guests are people just like you and I that are walking in their divine purpose and that are making waves on this planet. And I like to say that each and every one of us has a specific purpose that we were brought to this earth to fulfill. And although we are a part of one consciousness, we are a part of one body. We all have a specific DNA code that we were brought to this earth to unlock and to fulfill. And so if you are here listening into this conversation and you are seeking your own divine purpose and who you are as an individual, I encourage you and invite you to just open up your heart, to open up your mind so that you can expand today and recognize that you are already the person that you were brought here to be. All you have to do is awaken that within yourself to know that you have everything that you need within you to be all that you were created to be. And so these guests that I have brought on to this panel are people that I have met along my journey. And Amber Hindash is actually a person that I met just recently on one of my favorite adventures that I like to take every week is through hiking. And it's so beautiful when you allow yourself to be open to the synchronicities of your everyday life, to connect with individuals that you have never met before. And when you have, or when you take the opportunity to authentically connect, you realize that we are actually more connected than you think we are. We have so much more in common, and that we have the capacity to extend love, compassion, empathy to each other. And it's such a beautiful thing. So Amber was brought to this earth to be a child of the light. She's been a practicing licensed massage, manual, and visceral manipulation therapist for 20 years. She currently resides in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and is a student of a Naprapathic School located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. She aspires to continue being and bringing light as she becomes a doctor of naprapathy, teaching and working with others in the healing arts. She loves to hike and be outdoors with the people that she loves. And one of her life goals is to one day have a place to hang her hat and call home with a beautiful fur baby of her own. And with this, I introduce the beautiful Amber to this conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today, Amber.
Thank you so much. You said everything. You said it all, sister. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. And, for those of you who do not know what naprapathy means, I will allow Amber to explain this as we continue through our conversation. But I happen to have the honor to have Amber work on me because I have been on a self-healing journey for quite some time now. And I'm always looking to align with women just like Amber that are on that same journey, that understand the importance of self-healing and that are healers of their own and really understand the anatomy of the body and just the brilliance of our body, right? And how it has the capacity to self-heal when you give it what it needs. And body work is so important. And I definitely dig deep into that every single day. And I trusted her enough to work on my body. So I am here to just enlighten you with this conversation that I know is going to be really inspiring. So again, if you have not had an opportunity to go through this playlist of collective conversations, please take the time to do so, because you are going to come across so many people that are dispersed throughout this planet that are doing amazing work, not only in the healing arts, but also in teaching, in doctorates, in, I mean, so many different arenas that you have the capacity to really utilize to your advantage so that you can learn to heal and to walk into your divine purpose as we continue through this human evolution. So with this, I start the conversation of life philosophies and culture with the first question, Amber. What is your life's philosophy?
Whew. You know, for me, it's to bring the light. And for me, light means truth. So it's a hard one to bring here. It's a hard one to live here in this density and this dark kind of reality that man has kind of made up and that we buy into as a collective and we get lost in. But for me, it's all about bringing the truth, you know, shining that light on the dark, shining that light where there is shadow that needs to kind of be seen, and really examining that with an open heart, with as much compassion as I can for myself and others. And for what I do, you know, seeing people every single day come on my table, it's a sacred opportunity for me to kind of bring that light and hold the truth that that person has within themselves to see for themselves. It's all about healing yourself. You know, I'm not the type of person to tout and say that I'm a healer. We're all healers and directors and our own physicians because we have that capacity to do that. I'm just there to teach and help that person remember. And I think that what I do kind of carries over into my personal life as well, just to kind of help people remember that we're more than this density. We're more than, you know, our identities that we think that we are. But it is important to kind of recognize your own story and to see other people's stories and know that it all fits together in the whole. So we can't, you know, look at only the eyes of the body and say, that's what it's about. That's the only thing. We have to look at the hand. We have to look at the knee. We have to look at the foot. Everybody has a piece in the whole that needs to be acknowledged. And I think a big part of my journey so far is to acknowledge who we are, and more importantly, what we are.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. And if all of us embrace that philosophy in our own lives, we would be in a much better place as a collective. And it's beautiful to be able to align with people that understand that concept, that we are all self-healers, that we all have the capacity. I mean, we've really been created whole. And it really has been man that has destroyed that, right? We have brought dis-ease to our lives through the way that we live. And in reality, God has created us perfectly. We have been designed perfectly, and we have the capacity to continue to live in perfect form if we give our bodies what it needs. And how would you say that that philosophy has evolved for you over the years?
Woo, yeah, it's been a rough ride. You know, yeah, it's easier to kind of like put your blinders on and not really listen to that stillness of what is and what's true and what's talking to us the whole time. You know, I mean, our bodies talk to us, which is a reflection of our unconscious mind, right? That's our unconscious mind. So there's an aspect there that's always kind of vying for our attention. Like, and if we don't listen, then it shows up in different kind of dysfunctional dis-ease and pathology in some way. And I think that the hardest part so far has been identifying it, right? And saying, oh, this is my piece. This has nothing to do with that person, my parents, that other person, that journey, that circumstance made me feel that way. No, I'm a pretty, self-authority driven divine being. I made that choice, or I didn't make that choice, but it's still a choice that was mine. And so I think taking ownership and knowing how to grab hold of that and then direct your own ship and take charge has been something that, I just turned 40. So, I'm coming more into line with that, I think, or I'm trying to anyway. But it's really easy because we get that message that, oh, it's because of my parents and because of their divorce and, him and her and, so really kind of grabbing really your power back, which is a hard thing to hold on to.
Totally.
Because it's so intense. Like if we really sat with the power that we each have, can we fully, do we have the capacity to fully kind of hold that? And I think that that's probably one thing for me that I've struggled with for sure, coming into this existence with that kind of deeper understanding and that knowing that I'm here to do more. We're here to do more. We're here to, not just go through the mundane living life, and be blissfully ignorant, and then go into another cycle of karma or however you believe, right? So another cycle of a loop, like these history loops that we get pulled into. It's time to wake up.
Yes.
And when we wake up in the morning, we open the blinds, we bring the light in. Good morning, it's time to wake up. It's that. And I think that there's constant, ebbs and flows of sleeping and waking through this lifetime. And that's okay, because I think that if we were awake the whole time we were in this density, I don't think that we could be here.
Very true. Very
Right?
true. I love that you bring that up, because everything happens in seasons, right? And I like to look at, it's not even that it's my perspective. It is really what it is. If you look at the anatomy of the body and how important rest is, right?
Yeah.
When you go to sleep, it's almost as though you die to yourself and your body regenerates itself through the night as you rest. And then when you wake up, you're resurrecting to a new
I love
day.
that.
And
yes.
this new day has never been created yet. So we're literally waking up to the light of a new day, creating a new experience that we've never created before. Yesterday is dead. It's history.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we live in the illusion of that, which is why we live in pain.
Yeah.
And we resurrect that pain constantly in our subconscious mind, when in reality, it's an illusion.
Yes, absolutely. And so I totally agree with that. And I love that perspective, because so much of this culture is in the Christian kind of rhetoric that death and that resurrection. And I think, metaphorically speaking, that's maybe what the true Gnostic Christians were talking about. It wasn't the actual event. It was the, that symbol for us to kind of realize that we have the capacity to do that every new day, every day. So
Every day.
cool. Yeah.
It is super cool. And you're right. When we awaken to our own divinity and our own power that really God has given us, that because God resides inside even each and every one of us, and God has given us that light. Just not everybody awakens to it, which is why we live in a world that is filled with darkness. But when you recognize that you are the light outshines the darkness.
But you're also called to some very dark places sometimes.
You really are.
and you know, you have to be able to kind of hold that charge and that kind of perseverance, I guess, or capacity to hold that and be ready. Because it's not like we don't have places within ourselves that have shadow and darkness and, you know,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you know, that's the thing. But with my work, I really understand that, see that, you know, whenever I approach someone on my table, you know, we're working together on the same plane. There's not a hierarchy of anything because I'm right there with that person, you know, and I just maybe have another vantage point that I can kind of, you know, show some light. Everybody that comes on my table is really not allowed to go to sleep. You know, I mean, I want this person to be conscious about what is surfacing in their unconscious map, their unconscious body of story that we've held on to so tightly from the past, primarily as a memory, you know, that maybe just an acknowledgement, just a, you know, showing a different kind of light on that can help them start to feel and sense and see. And then that is theirs. I say, this is yours, you know, this is ours. But then you get to kind of take that and direct that the way that you need to on your journey. So
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
that's beautiful. And
yeah,
again, giving that responsibility back to the individual, because
yeah,
it's so important for each and every one of us to take responsibility for our own life. It's
absolutely.
no one, and it's great that, you know, people like yourself are holding space. That's really what it is we're holding space for each other to see ourselves. We're each individually a mirror of each other, right? And if there's darkness within you, you're going to see darkness within that person. And that's an opportunity for you to reflect it back to you and make changes that you need
Yeah,
to make in order for you to ascend to that next plane.
right.
Now you're 40 and
Yeah,
that's an evolution, right? Like that is, I mean, major evolution as you
yeah.
continue to go into those sovereign years and those years of experience. Now, was there like a specific time of your life where that really shifted for you?
Hmm. Um, you know, I went to massage school when I was 18. And growing up, my mom was kind of sick a lot. She had a lot of pain growing up. And so I think that kind of built my empath skill where, you know, essentially I was just like, you know, I need to take care of her so she's okay, so she can take care of me. So that is not maybe the way that you want to approach kind of working with people, but I think that's a big reason why a lot of caretakers or practitioners or body workers or, you know, people who help other people get into it. You know, it's kind of you know, fulfilling something within us that we think that we need to feel okay.
Mhm.
And so I went to massage school when I was 18. And then about 10 years after that, I hit a wall. You know, I felt it in my body. My body was saying, you need to redirect how you work with people. You need to redirect how you work with yourself. And why? What's your reason for what you do? Like, what is your motive here? What are you getting? What are they getting? What's happening? What's the dynamic? And so I had to kind of take a little break because I couldn't work. And um, and I just kind of checked in and I was like, that was the reason. Like I was looking for some sort of something to get back to me to feel like I mattered or I was seen, I was loved, and I got attention in some way. And I said, whoa, I need to redirect that and find out where that came from. And so I found that place growing up and I was like, okay. So I kind of like sat with that and I dealt with that and I transformed that and I redirected how I worked with people. consciously, and just was very clear. I got really clinical in my work after that, because Anne shifted the work to kind of reflect back on the person and say, this is yours. Let me teach you and show you what I see, and honor that. And then, you can take it because it's yours. And ultimately it's your power to heal yourself. And so, so seeing that growing up, the suffering, really, when you see suffering, you want to help, right? And, but coming from a clearer place, I think really shifted. And then when I was 23, I went to a Vipassana meditation course. And that changed my whole dynamic of my spirit and my vantage point of seeing we instead of me, but at a conscious level. So it's a 10-day silent meditation retreat. And I was 23, and I was partying and drinking and just kind of like trying to explore what my early 20s were about, like everybody, because this is what we're supposed to do, like everybody else, right? And I went with my friend Anna, and she had done a course in India, I think the year before or something. And so we went to a course, and I had never meditated before in my life. I had no idea. I mean, I think I read a little bit of like a book about it, and the third day I had my bags packed and I was ready to go, because it's, we're not used to that, no talking. We meditated from 4:30 to 9:30 at night.
Wow.
And no dogma, just, Vipassana meditation is what Buddha practiced before he became enlightened. And just really working with the breath, being in the body, learning how to observe and be aware with what you were feeling, whether it was positive, negative, knowing that it's not permanent. Like nothing here is permanent, right? In this duality that we live in. So learning how to kind of sit with that and not attach yourself to anything. I had a pretty profound experience on the 6th day.
Interesting.
Which shifted my whole reality. No longer feeling bound. I didn't leave my body, but I realized that I'm only bound to my body. We're only bound to our body in our minds. And I felt the whole stream of consciousness of what we all are. There wasn't buildings, there wasn't anything else but the stream of consciousness that we all are. And, that changed me after that experience. And I still think about it every single day after that, because it reminds me, we need that reminder that to not get caught up in this story. Not that we don't pay attention and acknowledge it, which is powerful. And I think that's where the transformation comes from, to acknowledge it, be present with it, but not react, not get caught up in the reactory kind of part of it, which kind of can bring suffering, I've seen.
Absolutely. Oh my, that is so good. And thank you so much for sharing that and being transparent with that story, because we really need, to understand the importance of recognizing that we are exactly where we need to be in our bodies in order for us to have experience everything that we need to experience in this plane of existence. And you can't really do that with all the noise.
Mhm.
And that's why
It's hard.
silence, it's hard. It's hard. And even when you're living in a big city, right, you have the capacity to just be silent and to take yourself to that place where you can just sit with your body and feel it. And it's interesting that you mentioned that in your early 20s, you were drinking, partying, and because that's what society does, right? And I can attest to that because I did that majority of my 20s and even in my early 30s. It started to make a lot more sense to me in my 30s for sure.
Yeah.
And this is why I asked this next question, because we are the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with, whether we want to acknowledge that or not. We are a product of our environment, and it's a choice. It's a choice where we choose to place ourselves, especially when we're mature enough to recognize that we have a choice.
Right.
And so how has your circle of influence impacted the way that you think and live today?
Wow. In a huge way, how I feel when I'm around certain people determines where I go. Usually, if I'm not feeling right within myself, especially in my body, I will leave. And I think, I've had different experiences living in a spiritual community before, surrounded with, my shaman who was a teacher, and with the people in the spiritual community. We were all there to kind of do the mission, work the mission, do spiritual practices, live. I think our circle of influences change as we do. And, I've had pockets of time where I've had different circles, but they have definitely shaped a clearer understanding of how I feel and what's right for me. And, going to one of my really good friends that I had for 18 years, her daughter basketball game, I played basketball most of my life, and going and experiencing, their family dynamics and in a gym with all the kids and the band and, then I get to come back home and unfold myself in my own space and really clearly know I'm connected. We are, like, let me not forget what's happening in the collective, but also how I am a part of it and how I can influence every circle that I've ever been in here and now, even now, so it's, but I've had multiple teachers in my life that I still talk with every week. I meet new people, and it could be someone that, I wouldn't think that I would, like an 87-year-old, and we're going to sit down and we're going to have some tea, which is why I love what you do, because there's so much wisdom in acknowledging places within ourselves and other people, right? Because it brings such a deeper awareness in us all.
Yes.
And I've had lots of different circles, but I think the one thing is authenticity.
Yes.
Authenticity with myself first. And just really acknowledging those places within whoever I'm with along the way. Massage school, spiritual community, drinking buddies, hiking friends, whatever, right? That what, if I'm aligned in my place within me, that is the highest truth of who and what I am and what we are, then hopefully I can connect to that place within that other person or in that other group of people to spark an unspoken remembrance And I think that I've always kind of done that. Sometimes it can be lonely feeling
Totally.
because, you can't, people sometimes have a hard time with that and feeling that. So, or they
Yeah.
don't know what to do with me because I don't fit into this group and this construct, and I don't have this label of this is what I am and this is what I go by. And, what do I do with her? I don't know. you know and I wake up some days going, what am I doing? I don't know what to do with myself. What? Yeah, that's hard enough already. So yeah.
I love that you said that because that resonates with me 100%. I know exactly what you mean. And it's so interesting because a majority of my life I was kind of made fun of because I'm like a chameleon, right? Like I can fit into so many different channels or different groups of people. And I've always attracted a multicultural group of people, which is why I named this society Cultured Society, because we're filled with people with differences, with different life philosophies, experiences, cultures, belief systems. And it's really important for us to be able to find that common ground with each and every individual that we meet and find, because each and every person is a representation of us, right? That's a reflection of us. But there's different levels of awareness, and it's really great that we are able to bring that higher perspective and awareness as we continue through our evolution, and that we don't get manipulated by those groups of people that we place ourselves in. And it's really important. I mean, one of a scripture that my mom used to always drill into my head growing up was, bad company corrupts good character. And when you are not strong in your character, you're easily influenced, which, it's the evolution, right? Like as you evolve through your human experience, you're going to go through phases of your life where you're trying to find yourself. You think that you don't know who you are, when in reality, you're just coming back to yourself, the original person that you were brought here to be, right? But through that process, you're easily influenced into doing things that are not conducive for your overall well-being. And as you allow yourself to evolve and embrace and accept yourself, you recognize that you don't need outside influences to convince you of who you are, or to do things that don't make you feel good. That's all a choice.
Yes. Yeah. And I've been there, right? Because I mean, and I'm sure you could attest to this too. Because like like I said earlier, when you hold that light, sometimes, you're shining that light within the darkest part of you, because that's what you're there to do, even, basically for yourself. But then some kind of shady, dark characters come along, right? To help you see what you need to see. And sometimes you can get lost in that. And that's probably the hardest thing that's happened to me, is that I get lost in the dark. And, in the spiritual community, or in a relationship, or here and there. But you're right. Like, where's your base? And I think that we need to have that conscious awareness to always try to come back to center in some way. And I think that's where other kind of supportive allies who really know and love you and care about you, can really offer a hand up sometimes. And it's really okay to have that hand up.
Oh, for sure.
Because, and getting to the place in yourself where you can ask for help sometimes too is so important, especially as we get older. So I mean, I'm talking older. I know some elderly folks who suffer in silence because they don't think they matter anymore, and they need help with something and they don't know how to ask for help.
Yes.
It breaks my heart. So yeah, I definitely I definitely resonate with that for sure.
Yeah, no, it's really important. I mean, and as you continue through this journey, you will go through pockets and phases of your life where it's necessary to be isolated and recognize the importance of solitude,
Right.
because you come back to yourself in Christ. But it is also important, as you come back to yourself, that you align with individuals that understand that journey as well, because it's so important to hold space for each other. There's only so much that you can do on your own, and then you need a helping hand to help you go to that next level, which is why I really like to surround myself with older women, wiser women, right?
Yeah.
That have already been through a lot of that journey and can help accelerate or shorten that process for me. I don't necessarily take advice from people that have absolutely no experience. Like, I love to surround myself with wise souls that have healed themselves, that know themselves, that have gone through, a lot of heartache and pain, and that have crossed that line, that finish line, right? And they recognize that life is a marathon and it's not a sprint. It's something that is a continuous, as we continue to be in this human experience. Now, with that being said, do you believe that your line of work infects our society with positivity?
Absolutely. Yes. 100%. It's all about, offering that kind of like spark that, something kind of can be different. And it's not really different, but different from their suffering, you know, different from what was, you know, even if I can, offer a little bit of remembrance in knowing, remembering that there's more, there's something different. It can move, it can change. I think that so many of us and society get stuck in the past and we just keep recreating it. So what I do is to offer a little bit of a jolt to be like, nope, doesn't have to be that way. Remember, you know, and then offering it in a way with compassion and love, because I'm in it with them, and some of the best teachers I've talked with have been people on my table. They have taught me so much, and so positivity infects me from them, and vice versa. So yeah, I love what I do, and I love that people can allow themselves the opportunity to just be still and be seen.
Yes, absolutely. And I can attest to that, because Amber is a very skilled light worker and healer. And I have just enjoyed, even though it's been such a short amount of time, I feel like I've known her my entire life. And she has helped me so much. So if you are here in the New Mexico area or you travel here, I highly encourage you to work with her, because there's not a lot of people that I trust in my energetic space, especially to work on my body, because you have to be very hyper aware of who you're allowing into your energetic space, especially to touch your body, because we're constantly transferring energy to each other. I mean, we're doing that right now through this conversation, and we're transferring positive energy to you as you are watching. So it's really important that you are connected to yourself enough to know what you're allowing into your headspace, what you're allowing into your mouth, what you're allowing to come out of your mouth, because everything is divinely connected to the way that you're feeling every single day. And so it's really important that you're very hyper aware of that. And do you believe that the line of work that you do every day is aligned with your calling and higher purpose?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Whenever I went to massage school, I was 18, and I talked to her last night. She's my teacher, mentor, friend, sister. She's almost 70, I think now. And I knew as soon as I talked to her and she talked to me, we had a little interview process in massage school, and she interviewed all of the students before they went into the program. And I knew as soon as she opened her mouth and said her first word that I was her and she was me. But it wasn't at an unspoken level, or not unconscious level, right? Because I didn't understand that at the time. But now I do. And I now know what she was carrying through touch to help people remember who they are. And I thought that was exactly, I was right on track, right, with what I needed to be in this world. And so, yeah, that sparked a whole different kind of way of being and seeing and listening to myself and others. And I'm really grateful for her. And if you ever get a chance to interview her, I'll direct you to her.
Yeah, definitely.
She's got some stories I can tell you.
I love that. I would love to share with the viewers, because I'm sure there's still a lot of people that are not very familiar with the holistic healing process. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't heard of naprapathy. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, mind, body, spirit medicine, integrative medicine and healing is, I think, the way we're moving. And that's it's whole body living, really, because we adapt what we do in our lifestyle with how we feel and what we put into our body, what food we eat, how much water we drink, how much sunshine we're getting, how much movement we're getting, what do I need right now? Do I need acupuncture? Do I need this type of herb or supplement? Or, so I think that addressing mind, body, emotion, spirit is so, so important for what we need to do and be here. I think, manual medicine is kind of inching into the health care system that we have here in the West, slowly. And, I've been in the world of massage, and massage hasn't really been recognized as a part of legitimate healing and well-being and essential to our whole health. And it really is.
Yes.
And it needs to be seen that way. So naprapathy is a doctor, naprapathic medicine is a doctor of connective tissue. So I work with changing kind of the ligament structure around the joint to move the bone. And that's a little bit out of my kind of scope, because my specialty is mainly muscle, connective tissue, and organ work. So the visceral manipulation is organ manipulation. So we house most of our emotion in our organs. And I think that's probably the most impactful kind of work that I do, and that I've learned from really skilled people. And I think it's so important to kind of do that work for other people, but for ourselves as well, because energy is motion, right? Emotion. We need that to move so it doesn't become stagnant. And so I could go on with that, but
that's like the perfect, that's the perfect and brief explanation of what it is that you do. And it's so true that, again, we are holistic beings, mind, body, spirit. And most importantly, we are spiritual beings living a human experience. When you really think about the anatomy of the body and the way that we are made up, we're majority water.
Yeah.
We're water, right? So when you pollute your body with toxic waste, which is majority of what our society does, you have to recognize how important it is to detoxify your body with nourishing it with beautiful plant herbs, plant food, water, teas, superfood smoothies, and doing the massage work, the movement, the yoga, the meditation, the breath work. I mean, there's so much involved in the natural healing of the body, and it's a discipline. It is a discipline that takes time. But I will tell you, Amber and I have been continuously doing the work within our own bodies and, really rejuvenating, regenerating, restoring, and it's possible. It's possible for you to do that for yourself. And it's beautiful to be able to align with people that have done and continue to do the work and to show you and give you hope that it's possible for you too.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you stay relevant, unique, and true to who you are as a person, especially in this society that we're living in today?
Oh, some days are really hard, but because I think the need to kind of want to belong is, I think, in our DNA, for one. It's really important, but for me, I think stillness, being still enough to listen to how I am, and being still enough to listen to what I need, what's me, first and foremost, before I head out the door, is really important. Listening to the earth, going out and being in nature, connecting with the planet, connecting with the soil. This is Mother Earth is holding us the whole time, reflecting back to us who and what we are here. So letting her take care of me. Can we allow it? Can we allow that place within ourselves to recognize that we can fall in love with ourselves every day?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been a journey. It still is a journey. But I try to sing and move and dance. I can get kind of serious sometimes. So I let my 3-year-old out sometimes and I'll color.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Right. And, just really kind of feel what I feel like.
That's so good. Oh my gosh. And that goes into my next question. So I want to know what practices you implement in your day-to-day life, because I'm sure this has been a discipline that you've developed over time. So walk us through a day in the life of Amber.
Well, I love espresso, and I should come down a little bit on it. But, I will get up first and foremost, though, and sit quietly. Kind of call back parts of myself, from my dream time. Come back to center. Ask that I be congruent within myself for today. Thank the day. Thank the new day. Thank me. Thank spirit. Thank God. Be grateful. I have a gratitude journal that I write in every morning and every evening. And it's just really kind of embracing that new day with new eyes. And it really does feel like new eyes every day. Yeah. And so instead of kind of like, oh no, this day doesn't feel like yesterday, say, yay, this day doesn't feel like yesterday. Whatever, right? Whatever this brings, And then can I align to my highest self? I align to my highest self. I align to my allies who are supporting me on my highest soul pathway. I ask the Holy Spirit, to kind of guide me in my interactions throughout the day. Help me to come into my heart. And then I think of all the people who I see that day. And I just let my heart expand and put them there. And then the best part is working with people every day, moving every day, putting myself outside in the sunshine every day, moving, listening to positive music, talking to people who I know will inspire me, that I can inspire them, going to visit pet friends wherever they are. They really are examples of unconditional love, and it helps us remember that.
Yes.
And I end with meditation, gratitudes, hot tea, hot bath.
That's so good. Oh my gosh, that is like my ideal day.
That's the ideal day.
Dream life right there.
I mean, it really does, and then there'll be times where I write, I'll write before I go to bed, just to kind of process the day sometimes.
Yes, that is so
come
good.
to some sort of resolution before I go to sleep.
That is so good. That is
Yeah.
so good. That is like the perfect example of the day and practices to implement into your life, because it's true. Like, my father has been in ministry my entire life, and I like to call him my philosopher, my historian, and the wise soul, right? And he always tells me and reminds me that we are the architects of our destiny. We are the designers of our life, and we have the capacity to not allow, society to control us. We have the power to control our days in the life that we're living through our society. Yep. So it's really important for us to embrace those concepts and to implement those practices of prayer, meditation, nature time, nourishing our vessels with amazing plant foods, that are going to allow our bodies to restore, regenerate, or heal. These are all personal choices that we make every day. Yep. That either kill us or heal us.
Yeah, totally. And on the days, if I'm having a day, because we're human, I'm human, and I don't do that, it really does kind of impact the things, like I'll get lost in something. I'll get lost in an emotion. And sometimes it's really easy to make that happen, but it really is a choice to bring back to a practice and know that you're practicing. It's not a test every day. You're not going to be graded on it. Have compassion for yourself and ease. Yes. Smile to yourself. That we're doing the best we can, but we're worth it to do. Yes. To do what we need to do for ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we invest so much into real estate that we live in, right? We think that our home is the greatest asset, but in reality, our home, our living vessel, is our greatest asset. So that is really where we need to be investing.
Yeah.
And you are worth it.
Yeah.
You're more than worth it. Yeah. And all your resources, your majority of your resources needs to be going into investing in your most valuable asset, which is your body and your time. Now, what words of wisdom would you give to those seeking a deeper understanding of themselves?
God, these are deep questions, Oh. Yeah, recognize that you're worth it, that you can be still enough to listen, that you are love. Be loved. beloved, you know, yeah, be still enough to listen. You matter enough to listen to yourself, to nature. Explore what's out there for you. So, yeah, I mean, I think Ram Dass said, be here now, right?
Be here now.
Be here now. Pema Chodron said, you are the sky. Everything else is the weather.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. Because when things come and go, you're the constant. You're there. You know,
Yes.
so you're worth it enough to be. Allow yourself to just be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That is so good. So simple, yet so profound. And I truly believe that this is a time where we need to go back to the basics. Go back to the basics and recognize that literally, like, the fact that you're breathing,
Yes.
the fact that you're alive, the fact that you are conscious awareness is a gift and a purpose in itself. That you
Yes.
don't have to do or be like, anything aside from that, that you don't have to go out and make millions of dollars and have all these lavish and, all these materialistic things to be worthy. You are worthy just because you're alive.
Yeah.
And when you come back to that basic knowledge and knowing, you're able to work from there.
Yeah.
You're able to work from there, and you're able to, be everything that you were brought to this earth to be. And it's such a beautiful concept and philosophy to live by, that you are created in the image of God. Therefore, you are everything already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes. It's that simple, coming back and remembering. Remember means to rejoin. Rejoin that knowing.
So good. So good. So thank you so much to everyone who is taking the time to join in on these conversations that are so important during this time that we're living in. We are stepping into a new earth, what I like to call my heaven on earth. And that is a perspective. It is the perception and the way that you allow yourself to view the world. And if you allow yourself to see from a higher vantage point, you can see that everything is the way that it's supposed to be, and that it is unfolding in your favor. But it's all about perception. And so I invite you to go through these playlists and to open up your mind and your heart space to these conversations that are being had today, because every single person coming through these doors, including yourself, has so much to give to this world. You are a gift just because you're existing. And I'm so grateful that you are here with us today, and that you are going to continue to move forward with us as we continue to step into this heaven on earth. Do you have any finishing statements, Amber?
That was so good. You say it all, sister. No, I think that, I think we're coming into an exciting time. I think, like you said, this new earth really is manifesting itself, and I'm excited for it. I'm ready. I'm willing, and I'm willing to continue doing what I'm doing and being what I'm being for myself and others. So, yeah, join us. The more the merrier, because we
Yes.
we all
Yes,
are.
yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, Amber, thank you so much for your time. I
Thank
really
you.
do not take this for granted. You are such a gift and such a light to this world. And I'm so grateful that we get to hold space together to be, even a greater light into this place that we're living in today. So thank you again to every person who is going to join us on this conversation. And until next time, we send you many, many blessings and so much love. Thank you.